Hello everybody, this is the Blood Father. Ever wondered where to start? Great, because I'm gonna share my story with you. How and where I started, how I got my first buck, and I grew up in a family that nobody in my family hunted, so I'm all self-taught. You can enjoy this. At the beginning of 2019, I done a little bit of search and I found an outfitter in my state. And I booked a 2 days hunting trip. It was late season. It was mid-December, I believe. I give him a call and I booked 2 days. That's about it. 2 days, 2019. After I made that phone call, I started doing more research, watching a lot of hunting shows. I've done a lot of research about what to wear, what kind of gun should I buy. Now I was big on shooting. I have a load of tactical rifles and such, but I never owned a bolt action or a hunting rifle, so I had to find a decent rifle, to hunt with. I went to Academy Sports, bought me a decent rifle, start practicing with it. I got really good at it. I started getting about 2 inches or under 2 inches group at 200 yards, which if you hunt Tennessee, that's a little bit overkill for Tennessee, because usually you won't take any shots over 50 yards unless you're really lucky. You got that open field or agriculture thing, I don't know. Anyways, forward in that year, it's time for my hunt. It's late or mid-December. I go to the outfitter, checked in. First thing in the morning, I go to my tree stand, right? They walk me to it. And I sit there in the tree stand, still dark. And I was just excited. I'm like, this is cool. This is the best thing I ever done, And I sit there maybe 30 minutes tops, the sun start going up. I start seeing around me and I can see, the layout. And I was just about to start, grabbing my rangefinder and get, range these trees and see all the, distance. And before I even had a chance to do that, I see a big doe walks in front of me. Like, I'm there 30 minutes tops, and a beautiful big doe walks in front of me and taking her sweet time. She had no clue I'm there. Everything, I guess, was right. The wind was right. Temperature, all. And I was like, you know what? There must be a buck behind her. So I'm not shooting her. And that's a mistake, folks. Take notes. Not every doe has a buck chasing her. You gotta know when is the rut in your area. Otherwise, if there's no buck, you just let that doe slip. But I learned something out of that. Although I didn't shoot her, but I learned something. I grabbed my rifle. I had my glass on her the whole time. And I was trying to study the behavior and see what kind of movement or noise I can get away with. That was the best part. That was what I gained out of that experience, because I just let her go. Mid-noon, they come and pick me up. Seen anything? Said, not really, just a big doe. And they're like, why you didn't shoot her? Said, I was just waiting for that buck behind her, but there was no buck. And the guide, he told me, you should have just took her down. I said, no man, I want a buck. He's like, Well, I'll be honest with you. You know, you let the doe go, and there's no buck behind her. It's not even the rut. We're over with the rut. You know, we're done. There's no chasing anymore. I'm like, dang, man. Well, I wish I knew better. And we start talking, and always listen to your guide, because you can learn a lot from these guys. In 2 days, you probably learn more from a guide than you have learned in your own hunting 3 seasons. Okay? But I got in the mindset that I'm like, screw all these TV shows. It's not all about trophies. You know, this is my first hunt. And my first 30 minutes, you know, I let this doe slip. And I go the next morning. I'm mad at myself because this is the last day. I just ruined an opportunity there. But I'm like, okay, well, this is my last day, my last sit. If I see a doe, I'm shooting that doe. While I'm sitting there, around 9 a.m., you know, I hear something moving behind me. And I'm new to hunting, but I understood the fact that the less movement, the better. So I didn't move. I'm trying to, you know, scan or, you know, see what's there behind me, but I couldn't see that. But I hear the movement coming from my back, moving to my right. And finally I saw this doe, you know, walking her way from my right side. And she kept moving. About my 2 o'clock, I grabbed my rifle. And I was about a ready hold. And when she came right in front of me, I put my glass on her. And I pulled the trigger. And that thing just drops on its tracks. Now the feeling, I was more proud of that shot placement than anything else. Well, I'm hyped up now. I call my guide and I'm like, I got one down, man. And he's like, congrats, man, I'll be there. So I climb down and I go walking towards that doe. And I'm like, well, I got a doe, you know. I've seen two does in 2 days. That's amazing, you know. And I walk towards that doe and just hits me. It wasn't a doe. Yeah, you guessed it. It was a button buck. Now I'm disappointed. Now I'm new to hunting. I'm like, God damn, this thing is small, and is it even legal? You know? And I called him. I'm like, I'm apologizing. I'm saying, hey man, it's not a doe. You know, it's a button buck, and I screwed up. I messed up, man. And he's like, no, that's fine. You know, it doesn't count as anything illegal or anything like that. You just shot a button buck. That's fine, you know. You're a new hunter, and that's good, man. Congrats. Like, that's the attitude, you know. Like, dude was just amazing. He's like, hey, you got one. That's all that matters. So we go back, and I talked to the owner, and I said, sir, I really apologize. I didn't know better. He's like, man, congrats. You got your first one. And that's just amazing. That's the hunting community that I'm talking about. Amazing people. Are they happy with shooting a button buck? No, but they understood the fact a new hunter, you know, got his first. That's all that matters. So that was it for me on that year. That was my first hunting year. I wouldn't even call it a real hunting because it was only 2 days and it was over. That's all I had, 2 days. But I got hooked. I'm like, I'm gonna spend all this time from now till the next season reading and learning. I'm getting serious about this. I love it. I'm gonna get better at it. Forward the next season 2020. Now, crazy year. We all know what happened with all that crap Chinese shit. But I'm ready, prepared. I upgraded my hunting gear. I bought new bolt action. I went from 6.5 Creedmoor to 30-06. And I'm like, yeah, man, everything is being upgraded. I got more knowledge now. I want a buck. This year I'm gonna hunt for sure more than 2 days, but I'm going after a buck. Now if I see a doe, yeah, I'm shooting a doe. Till today, I tell you what, I do not mind shooting a doe, but I still want to shoot a buck. You know, that's a challenge. But anyways, 2020, before the season begins, now I'm trying to find a spot to hunt. Public land, I had that in mind. And I still had some dates booked with my outfitter. Because I like these guys. Again, you learn a lot from them, especially when you're just learning the game. So I get a phone call before the season started. One of my good buddies that I met at the hunting camp in 2019. And he calls me and he's like, hey, you hunting this year? I said, yeah, I got days booked with the same outfitter and I'm gonna do public land. And he's like, listen, I got something for you. I got a lease. And if you can have access to it. And I'm like, that was just very act of kindness and generosity from him. Shout out to you, Bert. Love you, brother. And he's like, you have access to that lease and just go whenever you want. And that was a major change in my plan. You know, now I don't have to do any public land stuff and, you know, fight over spots and such. So I go to that lease. I picked one corner of the lease to hunt, and I didn't want to disturb anything else on that lease. Just, you know, to be respectful for my buddy, you know, and I didn't want to disturb any of the other parts of the lease. I just picked that one corner that he had the ground blind in it, and that's all I hunted. I hunted the thing hard, like every day's off I had, I went to that lease. And I mean every day off I had, I hunted the lease. I didn't see anything but a doe. I saw one doe once and she didn't give me a chance. She didn't give me a good shot. But that's all I've seen in gosh, probably 60 days or something of hunting. Just straight hunting. No luck. Now if I knew better, I would have moved around and looked for better spots and such. But I was like, you know, I didn't know better. I just knew that I gotta sit still, cover my scent, and just wait for them. I didn't understand the way they move and travel and all that. But I hunted hard. And every time I go home empty-handed, I do more reading and research about how can I do better. But it never crossed my mind, you know, to find them, because I thought this is where they are. I'm already there, but I wasn't there. Anyways, it's late December now, late in the season. I haven't shot anything, but it's time to go to my outfitter. I had my hunting days coming up with the outfitter, so I go there. I enjoy the outfitter. I think it's more like it's a hunting camp where you got a lot of guys around and you guys all share the same interests, so it's fun just to be there. So we go there and we start talking and which spots we're gonna hunt. You know, they recommended me, the guide recommended one of the spots, and he said it should be a good spot. So I go there and I sit on that tree stand. I haven't seen nothing all day long. That's part of hunting, right? But I'm so frustrated at that point because I've been hunting my ass off. Like, I've been doing investing all my free time in hunting. If I'm not working, I'm hunting. And nothing, empty hand. So I go back after the first day of hunt with the outfitter. And I said, man, screw it. I want to take a spot where I have over 150 yard shots. That's what I want to do. If I'm going to kill anything, I want it to be a relatively long range shot. And then we start talking back and forth. Anyways, there's one of the spots called Cabela. I said, I want Cabela. I want that spot. Then I think the range was, I believe, 200 yards shots out of Cabela. So I said, yeah, that's what I want. Put me on that Cabela spot. And it was a shooting house. So I go early in the morning, and I had a game plan. I said, it has to happen. This is it. The last day for me hunting. And I said I'm gonna have a different approach. So the shooting house, the Cabela shooting house, it's facing like it's not really open field, but kind of it's mainly open. And you got a bridge behind you, and the open field is right in front of you. So I'm like, early in the morning, they might be feeding on this open field or whatever. So I'm not gonna go walk towards the shooting house through the field or the edge of the field. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the top of the bridge and walk down and get in that shooting house from the back, where they can't see me. While I do that, I get dropped at the top of that ridge. There was a small food plot there. And I was using, I believe, Onyx app, and walking my way down. I sneak into the shooting house. I get there. I sit down, and I'm just waiting. And now it's a waiting game, right? Well, around 7:40, 7:30ish, I hear a doe bleeding behind me, like where it came from, up the bridge. There's a food plot there. I'm like, there's a doe back there. I hear it bleeding. So now I ignore everything in front of me, and I'm looking behind. It's a late season, so there's no leaves on the trees. If you're a decent shot, you can take those shots. So I ignore everything in front of me, and I'm looking behind me, trying to see her. I'm like, if I see anything out of that doe, all I need is one shot. Give me just one shot, and I'll put her down. I'm excited. All season with nothing. And then I probably spent 40 minutes looking behind me. God, Lord, I don't know why the hell I looked in front of me. I guess I got tired. My neck started hurting. I look in front of me, and I see this buck chasing a doe. He passed probably 60 yards in the open field without me even noticing them. Right when he got in front of me, then that's where I caught him. And I got so nervous. I'm like, dude. And I do, man. And he stops behind a huge cedar tree. Because he didn't stop right away. The sound travels, and by the time he heard it, he stops behind the tree. I'm like, shoot me. Really? This is how it's going to do? And keep in mind, this is a big tree. And then probably 20 yards, and he's back in the thick woods. Like, dang. So I'm holding my glass, just waiting for him to get behind the tree. And he's just right behind that tree, like, I got no shot. And he takes maybe a minute, and he takes a couple more steps. And I had maybe this much of an opening. And right where I want that bullet to go through. And I take that shot, because I knew if he gets behind that tree completely, because the doe is already gone, I'll never see him again. So all I see is this, lungs. And I take the shot, bang! Now it's all over. He ran. I know I shot. I'm shaking. Man, crazy how it plays. You can think of all the scenario you want. It'll never play that way. I go down. I call the owner. Said, hey, I just killed one. You got your doe? I said, no, I got a buck. He's like, awesome, man. That's cool. Well, call the guide. He named the guide and call him, and I'll be there and helping you dragging. Like, cool, man. I hang up. Like, I'm gonna wait. I couldn't wait. So I just shot a deer from this shooting house. I couldn't see him crossing this field. He was chasing the doe because I got distracted looking behind me because I heard some bleeding sound. I look right there and there's a buck following a doe. I did the mat thing. He stopped right there. Behind that tree right there. Behind the thick. I got so much. I was afraid he was gonna run in the thick. Just took a shot. Hopefully I can't find him. I think I smoked him. It's been a rough season. I really hope he's laying down somewhere there. 5 minutes maybe, and I walk behind that tree to see if I can find any blood. Well, I can't find anything. No blood at all. This is where I got nervous. No blood. I walk towards the woods where he ran. And I see there's a barbed wire fence. And there's a white hair. That's not a good sign, because the white hair on the deer is on the belly. I called the owner again. I said, hey bud, well, I can't find blood behind the tree where I shot him. There's a white hair. And there's a drop or two of blood with the white hair. But no blood where I shot him though. And he says, it's like, man, I'm sorry. I'm afraid to tell you that deer probably in the next county right now. You probably shaved his belly. I didn't like that. I said, alright man, well, do you mind, is that your property behind the barbed wire fence? Do you mind if I go behind that and try to find them? I'm desperate. And he's like, yeah, sure, that's my property. If you want to jump in, you know, that's fine. So I jump the barbed wire fence, and it's a thick woods, and they go down. There's a creek at the bottom. It's very steep. I said I'm gonna go all the way to the back and walk it. That way I can scan all of it, because it's like a V shape. And I'm gonna scan both of it. And I'm walking and walking, and I'm just, I'm thinking to myself, I had the chance and I ruined it. And I keep walking and I see more white hair, more blood. And then I see that sucker laying on the creek, like his butt in the water on that creek. Man, was I excited. I thought he was a giant. I thought he was the biggest trophy I ever seen. He is my trophy. At the time, he was my trophy. So I called my guide and I said, hey man, I'm gonna need help dragging. I came down the hill. This creek, he's laying down there. Hope he didn't break any of his antlers. So halfway up, I'm dead from dragging that deer. I'm dead. It was steep. He shows up and he started dragging. He gave up too. Like it was tough. And we ended up we brought his Jeep closer to the woods, and we tie a chain and a strap, and we just drag the deer just enough to get to these straps and chain, and we just used the Jeep to get him out. And I named him Cabela's because that's the spot I hunted. It was the Cabela's spot. So that's a deer. That's a Cabela. Alright y'all, here's Cabela's shoulder mounted. 6 points. He got weird drag. But he's special. He's my first buck. I keep the brass of every kill. Something I like to do. If you guys like the story, you like what you see in this channel, please like, comment, and subscribe. That helps us and keeps us going. Till the next time, folks.